Thank you.
Now, according to the schedules, it was a bumper day on North Korean radio today. The only path for flunkiest nation sellers to take is destruction got high billing, with the ever-popular heinous war fanatics who turned their back on the nation cannot avoid stern punishment of justice, also a highlight. Last night, dull old Newsnight was enlivened by Sue Lloyd-Roberts' report from inside North Korea, in which she tried to find out what life is really like inside the Hermit Kingdom. To get a properly rounded picture, she then tracked down some of the thousands of North Koreans who flee the country each year. She reports tonight from South Korea.
I left North Korea wondering why they had invited us in. We were expected to film only statues and portraits of the president, the great leader who, although dead, is still president and worshipped like a god, and of his son, the current dear leader. North Korea has one of the biggest standing armies in the world, and yet, aid agencies say, millions are going hungry. But our minders didn't want us to film behind the facade. I was told this is North Korea, the capital, Pyongyang, the city of the well-fed elite with happy, smiling faces singing praises to their leaders. But what's happening in the rest of the country? I had to go to South Korea to find out. Just over 100 miles south of Pyongyang, the South Korean capital, Seoul, couldn't provide a more dramatic contrast. While the North remains mired in the beliefs and limitations of the last century, South Koreans rejoice in the inventions and the gizmos of today.
If I find this country baffling, imagine what it must be like for some 3,000 North Koreans who arrive here every year from the most isolated, uninformed and unconnected country in the world.
Maybe Garam, who fled from the north, was always a South Korean at heart.
Hey, look at this, a cake shop. Should we go in here?
She was arrested for listening to tapes of South Korean music at home and managed to escape before being transported to a labor camp. She arrived a year ago and still can't believe it.
There is so much to eat. You can eat when you like, but in North Korea you can't find food you'd want. We only eat meat twice a year on special days, like Kim Il-sung's birthday. We were told that people in the south were so hungry and they rummaged through rubbish bins and carried old tins with them to collect food in.
Sena arrived 5 months ago and, like everyone in this film who still has family in the north, wants to remain anonymous. All new arrivals spend months in special government schools learning how to cope with the 21st century. In South Korea, there's more broadband connections per person than anywhere else in the world. In the north, people don't have access to the internet, and mobile phones are only for the elite.
What surprised me most here was the internet and access to information, so that everybody can know everything, and there are no secrets. Because of the mobile phone, you can talk to anyone. In North Korea, if you want to get a message to someone, you might have to walk miles.
They both travelled thousands of miles to get here. From Chongjin in the north, across the Tumen River into China, then working in order to raise the money to pay guides to take them on to Laos and across the Mekong River to Bangkok, where they tried to reach the South Korean embassy for help and a flight onto Seoul. Sena told me she was imprisoned in Thailand before she made it. Garam took emergency precautions in case she didn't.
만약에 공안에 잡히잖아요. 잡히면은
If we were caught by the police, then we would have been sent back to North Korea, which is like a death sentence for us. There'd be no point in going back to live like an animal. That's why we travelled with poison, so that if we were caught, we'd take it and kill ourselves.
죽으려고 자살하려고 그렇게 다 준비를 하고 가는 거예요.
Nearly all the defectors say they fled because they were hungry. Here, the new arrivals in white play against South Koreans. You can see the difference in height. A South Korean young male adult is on average 3 inches taller than his northern counterpart. It's the young and the fit who make it here, though they feel guilty about those they've left behind.
식량 사정으로 인해서 이렇게 중국에 가게 됐고요.
I crossed over to China because we had no food and I could swim.
한국에 올 생각은
I left my baby sister behind. I don't know whether she's dead or alive.
좋은 삼촌을 만나서 이렇게 오게 됐습니다.
가장 그리운 거는 저희 어머니가 혼자 계시는데
What I miss most is my mother, who is left living by herself. I worry about her. Missing my family is the hardest thing to bear.
가족에 대한 그림이 좀 제일 큰 것 같습니다.
They have mixed feelings about the two countries.
근데 개인적으로는 저희가 축구팀 때문에 옷을 일단 잉글랜드를
I'm wearing an England shirt because it's the uniform. Both North and South Korea will play in the World Cup. I'll support them both.